What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. I'm Jamie. This is Headbanging Through It, a podcast where we talk about heavy metal and mental health and other hard shit. Shockingly, everybody didn't plan this out today. I was in a bit of a panic. I am not super fucking organized, which is the story of my life. Here I am. I have been focusing my Headbanging Through It mental health episodes on my counseling sessions for the last couple of weeks. I'm going to take a break from that today because I'm just like a little bit overwhelmed by it. And I want to be upfront and honest and open with everybody about where I'm at with my healing process and everything that I'm going through with my counseling stuff. It's just like really fucking hard, you guys. I am having a lot of, I don't know what the word is, overwhelm, exhaustion, just feeling like it's a lot. And to talk about it every week has become too much pressure for me. I do want to have these talks about the sessions, and I think it's important to share all the things that I'm learning and I'm going through in these sessions. And on top of that, I'm hitting these spaces of feeling like I'm really lost and just a bit confused by all of it. If you guys have been in counseling and gone through anything really hard and you've been in those spaces where you know that like everything is just really cloudy when you're in the middle of it. And I'm just feeling that right now. I know that I'm going to come out of it. I know that I'm learning so much. I know that things are shifting with my mental health and my overall just like thinking processes and everything that I'm working through in these spaces. And it feels really good. It also just feels like I need to allow myself some greater space to let it settle after each session as well, so that when I do these podcasts about it, that I'm explaining it clearly and my mind is more clear about the things that I've gone through and the things that I'm learning. So I hope that makes sense. I did have a session yesterday. It was really great. I haven't really like let that session settle in yet either. I still feel like I'm recovering from last week, and then I have another week. They're weekly. They're a lot. There's a lot going on. I don't know what the word is. I think it's just overwhelm. I think that when you know that something big is happening with your belief systems and all the things that you've been sort of caught in and the way that you've been living for a long time and a big shift is coming, it just is really important to rest and to allow that shift to happen without having too much interference. So that's kind of what I'm feeling like I need to do right now, and just give myself some space and time to let my mind settle into it, let my body settle into it. And I'm also having like a lot of spikes in these sessions with my post-traumatic stress disorder. It's like triggering me a lot, right? There's just like so many aspects of it. And so last week my anxiety was really, really high, and it hasn't been that high in a while, to the point where I was freaking out a little bit. Yeah, just not feeling very safe with my healing process and all of the stuff that I go through with my mental health. Safety is a really big issue for me. It's stuff that I'm working through. It just is stuff that I'm working through. And I want to keep sharing all the things that are happening with me as they come up, because I feel like working through this process, not just like verbally in these podcasts, but sharing them with other people, is a really good healing process for me. It helps me find clarity when I feel cloudy. I really also believe very strongly that there's someone else that's going through something similar. It can really help you feel like you're not alone in it. So that's where I'm at with the podcast. That's where I'm at with my cognitive processing therapy sessions. They are going really good. I really do like my counselor a lot. It's just a lot of pressure. I feel like there's a lot of pressure on me to complete all the things that I have to do every week. And then I also feel like there's a lot of pressure. I'm putting a lot of pressure on myself to come on here and then record about them and put the podcasts out for you guys. And that's not healthy for me. And that's not how I want to do it either. I don't want to do them rushed and in this way that it just feels like I'm shoving all this stuff out and I'm not doing it in a way that makes sense to anybody, especially if it doesn't make sense to myself. I don't think that's helpful for you guys, and it's not helpful for me. So I'm taking a break from that this week. I had an awesome recording session last week with my buddy Oz. We did a cool chat about heavy metal and metal fusions and different cultural metal and lots of the integrations of different genre mixes and so forth in the metal world, heavy metal world, and the things that we love about that. And he had some cool clips to show me of some YouTube videos. So if you guys are into that, if you're into heavy metal and you're into seeing what kind of different shit is out there, you can check out that episode. It is on my Headbanging Through It, the Metal Talks channel on Spotify for the full version. And then the edited version with no music is just on my regular Headbanging Through It channel, which would be the episode right before this one. And we had some good laughs. We had a lot of fun just chatting about music. And I'm just trying to break it up a little bit so that I'm not so compacted and compressed in this one section and focusing all of my energy on just talking about my therapy. My therapy is really fucking important. I think therapy is really important for anyone that has any mental health struggles anywhere across the board. I'm a huge advocate for therapy. I know I've talked about that lots. I have quite a few sessions where I talk about all the therapy and how it's helped me through my life. And it will continue to help me through my life. I'm definitely really proud of myself. I mean, I don't know if proud is the word. I guess I'm just like, I'm really glad that I hit the wall that I hit that landed me back in therapy, because it definitely has brought me back into a space that I really need to be in, and has shown me that I have not been really living in a space that I want to exist in for a while. So I already knew that. I know I already knew that. Being in therapy has really like driven that home for me of like, yeah, you need to get some of your shit sorted out, Jamie, and just like figure out where you want to be, and not spending so much time blaming my work and all the stuff that I went through in my job for all the things that are going wrong in my life, right? Like I really feel trapped in that space of like, I would be somewhere else if I hadn't done that line of work. And it has created a lot of anger in me, and not just recently, but like for the last like 20 fucking years of my life. That's a great segue into the topic that I am going to like dive into today, which is anger. And this is a topic that I have been wanting to bring up for a long time, and then I've been avoiding it because there's just a lot of heat that comes with talking about anger, and it makes people uncomfortable, and it's perceived as like negative. There's just a lot of avoidance around the topic of anger in general. And I guess that's why I want to talk about it, is because it is one of those things that people don't want to talk about. And I'm literally doing a podcast about talking about the hard shit that nobody wants to talk about. And I've been avoiding talking about this because I have felt like maybe I don't want to look at the anger that I have myself and in my own body about all the experiences and things that I've been through. And I think I've reached a place now in my life where I am just okay with it. I have stopped feeling shame around having anger. And I think that's a really big shift for me. And I think that just like anything in life, when you stop feeling ashamed of it, it becomes easier to look at and more powerful. Anger is a very natural and normal part of being a human being. It is part of the human experience. And there's not a single person out there that is exempt from having or feeling or going through something that has evoked anger in them. We are all human beings. We can all relate to feeling irritated, upset, agitated, angry in some degree at some point in our lives. Nobody is exempt from that. And if you tell yourself that you have never been that way, I would call bullshit on that. We all experience every level of emotion. There's nobody out there that is perfectly one way or another. There's not 100% joy. There's not 100%, negativity and anger. There is different levels and variations of all the things. And every person that goes through something experiences different emotions, and we can all relate to all of those emotions. And I think it is okay to say I'm angry without attaching and feeling like you're not allowed to be that way. You're not allowed to have that emotion or feeling without feeling like you're being judged for being a negative person. I have been told that multiple times in my life, because I say something that comes out or comes across as angry is negative, or because when I speak my truth and I say something in a way that has force and is just raw honesty, it's perceived as negative or angry. And I think that there is a lot to be said about perceptions in this life and how we receive information from people. I don't see myself as a negative or angry person. I do see myself as someone that speaks their mind. I say it like it is. I don't beat around the bush. I don't fucking make up shit, and I don't really fluff stuff up. that's not who I am as a human being. That's not my personality. And it's not who I have ever really been as a person. I think that because of the way that I communicate and the way that I express myself, it comes out to some people as like, ooh, you're so aggressive, or you're so angry, or you're so negative, or you're so this. When in truth, it isn't those things at all. My question, why do my emotions upset you so much? Like, what is it about what I'm saying or how I'm saying it that is evoking or bringing out something in you that upsets you? I think there's these spaces within us that we don't want to look at for whatever reason. And I know this because I've lived like this for so many fucking years of my life. So I've been through these doors. I know what it looks like to open them, to walk through them, to see what's inside of them, to look at all that shit and then be fucking upset about what's in there. And then also figure out how to live with it, process it, sort through it, and then like move forward. And anger is a part of that, right? I mean, there are things that have happened in my life that I'm upset about, and I'm okay with being upset about those things. I think that those things are deserving of my anger, and it is anger that comes from a space that is truthful and not unhealthy. There are things that have occurred in my life that have been quote unquote wrong, depending on, how you perceive things, right? For me personally, wrong, not okay, unacceptable. I've been through some hard shit. I've struggled. I've struggled with mental health issues and systems, governing bodies, the health systems, lots and lots of different areas of my life where things have come up that I have had to really push through to get the help that I needed in those moments. Not all of it has been easy. A lot of it has been very messy. The outcomes have not been what I hoped they would be. Through all of that, I've learned that it is okay to be upset when things are not functioning properly. There are spaces in our lives where that anger is deserving. It's okay to have those emotions in those moments, that it's normal to feel upset when you are hit with things and rejected in these ways that don't feel good. Do I carry that with me throughout my entire fucking life? No, I don't. Do I dwell on it? No, I don't. And it doesn't mean that those experiences don't exist. And why is it so frowned upon to speak about the things that we've been through that have impacted us and changed our perspectives and who we are as humans? As we go through life, we change depending on what we have experienced and what we've gone through. No one is the same at 45 as they were when they were 20. We all evolve and grow and learn. We go through different things. We meet different people. We travel the world. We see so much. And every single one of us has a different experience. And therefore, every single one of us is a different individual. And what moves us through this world and where we end up is all unique to each of us. Yes, there are lots of people that have less intense experiences than other people, but that doesn't mean that those experiences are more or less valid than somebody else's. And there are lots of different pieces to being a human being that are overlooked. Being okay with anger is something that is just a growing point through our lives. The things that we look at that we shy away from and that we feel uncomfortable around, those things usually say the most about us as people. If you're running away from something, and I've learned this in my counseling and through all my post-traumatic stress disorder, as like one of the key things that I do on a regular basis is fucking avoid. That's my whole life. Fear, safety issues, avoidance. I don't want to do those things that will potentially trigger me and scare me and put me into a state of fight or flight. And so I hide a lot. And avoidance is something that I'm very, very good at. And what I've learned in all my counseling and through all this shit is that the things that we avoid are the things that we need to work on the most. The power or the passion or the force that I put into what I'm speaking about that makes someone uncomfortable, that says everything about who they are. I'm not uncomfortable with the way that I express myself. If the way that I express myself creates discomfort in someone else, that is not about me. I have come a long way in my healing. The reason that I'm even doing this podcast is because I've come to a place in my life where I feel like I am okay with where I'm at. I don't want to sound like a dick. I do give a shit about people. I do give a shit about myself. I think I've just reached this point in my life where I don't have a lot of shame around what I've been through. I feel comfortable and strong talking about the things that I've been through and sharing that with with other people, the feedback surrounding that is just going to be what it is. We have angry moments, right? Everybody has fucking angry moments. Just because we have an angry moment doesn't mean that we're an angry person. We're not in one state all the time in our lives. You're not happy all the fucking time. You're not sad all the fucking time. We go through all of it. And what we go through in our lives creates and builds who we are as humans. I have been through a lot of dark shit. I've seen a lot of bad things in the world. I know that bad things happen. I have been exposed to lots of bad people, bad situations, and scary shit. I worked in emergency services. You see the worst of the worst of the worst every single fucking day. It's hard to go out into the world and then look at rays of sunshine and flowers and bunnies and just like pretend that everything's fine when you know that there are lots of things that aren't fine and lots of people that are being hurt. Just scary shit. It's scary bad shit. Yes, I've been through those things. They have impacted me in a way that has affected my life. It hasn't affected my ability to understand that there is still beautiful things in this world. There's sunshine and love and mountains and water and all the beautiful things that I enjoy. I'm working through these pieces of understanding and validating that I have been through something hard. I can accept those spaces that I've been in and know that those things are true and real and did happen. And I can also move forward from that and find other pieces of life that aren't so scary and be okay with going out into the world and not expecting that something bad is going to happen at every second of my life, or that there's potential for something bad to happen every time I leave my house. And a huge part of my post-traumatic stress disorder too was like, because I suppressed so many years of the trauma that I was exposed to, I'm learning to also be okay with all the things that came up with that because I suppressed it for so long. Anger is also a piece of that. There was a section of my life where anger was very much at an unhealthy level because I was not looking at the things that I was going through and I was not accepting that I was not okay. And I was using alcohol very heavily to try and drown that out, not sleeping and not taking care of myself and just being unhealthy in general. Suppressing all of that stuff did bring up unhealthy pieces and unhealthy emotions and unhealthy actions in my life. I'm working through all of that. I also have come to a place where I'm okay with it. I accepted a long time ago that I'm not perfect and nobody is. We all fuck up, right? Like we all go through things, we learn from them, we fuck up, we say we fucked up, we own it, we move on. Hopefully we own it and we move on. Hopefully we address it and we move on. Hopefully we look at it and learn from it and grow from it. I was also diagnosed with clinical anxiety with my post-traumatic stress disorder, and anxiety is exhausting. Anyone that has a medically diagnosed level of anxiety, you know that it can take over your whole life. It takes over your whole body. You can have physical reactions. Quite often I have them, most days I have them. I have elevated heart rate. I have chest pain. I have like breathing. Oh my gosh, my heart was beating so loud and so fast the other day. I thought that I was going to fall down. When you get into those spaces of feeling scared, I was really scared last week. My anxiety was in a space of like, I don't know, extreme. I would say it was extreme last week. I hit this space of feeling like, what the fuck? Like, is this going to kill me? Like, it scared me so bad that I was like, how can I live like this? I don't know how to exist when everything is like so elevated and I feel like I'm frozen in fear all the time and my heart is like beating through my head. I don't know how I'm supposed to move forward sometimes when I'm in those spaces of just feeling like completely stuck in fear. And I've learned through that also that when I'm trapped in those spaces and my anxiety is so intense, and I know it's intense because I can feel it in my body, but I don't always know how to address it. I know that I can sit. I know that I can do these things. I know I have like ways that I can help, let it settle. And there's not just an off switch. I can go for a walk. I can go to the gym. I can sit down and relax. Usually when I sleep, that settles my body. And when I wake up the next day, I feel a little bit more calm. But when I'm triggered so badly that I'm in this space of feeling like I can't fucking breathe, sometimes it takes days and days and days. And I know that I'm not doing well and I'm doing all the things that I know of to help alleviate some of that tension. And with that, I also just don't know when it's going to stop. the stress that is formed from all of the anxiety that I have makes it worse. And then when days and days have gone by and I haven't been able to settle my system down at all, it's just exhausting. My mood gets elevated and I get into the space of feeling agitated. And then when my kids come at me and they need something and everyone's talking or everyone's fighting in my house and like, I can't find this or mom help me with this, I lose it a little bit. I'm just like, everyone needs to stop. It's really hard when all these external things are coming at you and they can't see the internal things that are coming at me. So I'm already overwhelmed on the inside. And then on the outside, all of this stuff is also happening. And there's a storm outside, a storm inside. I just want it all to stop, right? And like, how do you make your family stop needing and wanting and asking you for things when you're a mom? Like, that's fucking impossible. And then how do you shut an internal anxiety stress storm that's going on inside your fucking body off? I can't just tell it to stop. I wish that I could. And I do work really hard on like allowing myself that space and time to settle. My kids, they don't understand that I'm in a space of feeling like I'm gonna explode and that I need quiet and I need space and I need time to breathe and like relax. My youngest is 5. He has no fucking clue. You know, when he wants a snack, he wants a fucking snack. He doesn't care. He doesn't have the capacity, the emotional capacity at that age to help me. So there's lots of pieces to it, right? There's mental health pieces to anger that are like my anger with my kids is a reaction to my anxiety and overwhelm that's going on in my body. There's also anger that is justified with like, I am really frustrated with the medical system. And every time I go there, I feel like I have to rally for myself and I leave without the thing that I went in there looking for, right? And that's frustrating. I'm dealing with WorkSafe right now. WorkSafe fucking sucks. Every time I have to talk to them, my heart rate goes up and my chest pain gets really bad. And then I get off the phone and I'm angry because why does this system even exist if it's like not helping the people that it's supposed to be helping? I literally have an approved file and a permanent disability on record, and I can't get a fucking single person to help me. That's frustrating. And that anger is justified. That is a healthy level of anger. I am upset that I have a mental health issue and a health issue that is a direct result of a job that I worked in for a very fucking long time. And it has impacted me significantly in ways that affect my everyday life. It affects my family. It affects my fucking kids and my husband and everyone that knows me and me regularly. I can't get somebody to fucking help me out with this. And I don't want to hide the fact that I'm pissed off about that. I don't want to have shame around the fact that I'm fucking angry about the systems that are put in place that aren't helping the people that say they're there to help. It's fucked. There's also a lot of power in anger. I listen to heavy metal. It's my favorite fucking genre. Anyone that listens to heavy metal can relate to this. There's power in just feeling that scream when you're in those moments of just wanting to like scream a song. I think that the people that are creating that music also feel that power, and that is why they put it out into the world, right? Like it releases something that connects to other people and they bring it in and they're like, thank you. Like that's how I feel. I really do connect to those spaces, and being okay with those spaces that sometimes we get to where we're like, fuck, I just want to scream. I'm just mad about it. And that anger can actually like push you in ways that are positive, in ways that are powerful, in ways that will drive you into helping somebody or sticking up for yourself. Like I'm doing with WorkSafe, my anger is going to help me push into those spaces and keep fighting for what I need with my health because I know that it is important. And I won't stand for somebody, again, just not acknowledging me. You know, I've been through enough. I'm just tired of it. There's power in anger, right? I think that like heavy metal bands have so much fucking power, and not in ways that are scary or unhealthy. And again, like who you are and how you perceive that type of music is really up to you and like what you've been through in your life and whether you feel like you can connect to it or not. And not everybody is going to get it and not everybody's going to feel the same way about it. We're drawn into certain pieces of music because of who we are and what we've been through. Some people don't even have connection to music. I don't know what that's like. I'd go insane. Anger isn't just something that comes from the pits of hell, you guys. There is anger that can bring you results that you need. There's people that say like, oh, anger is negative. All the people in the world that are like, anger is negative, anger is this, anger is that, and that they don't want to look at it and they're uncomfortable. Like, are those the same people that are saying these other fucking things about like, be more positive? I just really strongly feel that telling people to be positive is a toxic trait. And I think it's interesting that there's like this stigma around anger being perceived as negative. And then these positive police people that are like, be more positive, look at the bright side. That is actually not positivity. Like saying those things in itself, saying those things to someone isn't positive. It's false positivity. You're questioning my emotions and telling me that my emotions are bad. That doesn't make any sense. That's actually like a negative thing that you're doing to somebody if you're saying that to them. It's kind of hypocritical. Be more positive. Be this way. Do this. Things happen for a reason. Look at the bright side. You're actually telling someone that their feelings are invalid. If you are someone that believes in positivity and being a positive person, that is not a positive way to speak to somebody. So I always think that's really odd. That stuff is so fucked up in so many ways that it really like makes me wonder about the people that are saying these things. Like, be grateful. Be grateful. That whole mentality is just like oozing with judgment. It's oozing with judgment and it's oozing with like complete negativity. Again, perception. But right, if you're telling somebody how you think that they should be or feel in a situation, you're actually trying to take their emotions and how they feel about the thing that they're going through away from them. You're minimizing it. You're telling them that their emotions aren't okay. That makes people feel really small. If you're a positive person, then you telling somebody how they should feel or react is not actually existing in the way that you're saying you are. You're contradicting yourself. And they're cliche sayings. And I think that people get really uncomfortable in these spaces and they don't know what to say. So they're like, oh, everything happens for a reason. Or look at the bright side. At least, this didn't happen. But really what you're doing is clearly telling somebody you're really fucking uncomfortable in that situation. You don't want to look at it. You don't want to talk about it. And you're invalidating them as a human by being dismissive. I think that that is something that's really overlooked in society. Do it this way. Or, how about this? And just like look at the sunshine and everything will be better. When really like that's fucked and not true at all. There's something to be said about pushing these cliche sayings around all the time as something that's normalized in society when really like underneath all of that, it's not really helpful. If there's a certain way that you react and you live your life and it is how you would perceive it to be like positive, that's great and that works for you. When we do that and we try to pull things away from somebody, you're really like dehumanizing them. I feel like anger is an important conversation. I feel like we don't talk about anger enough. I feel like there's a lot of stigma around anger and how it's perceived. There's just a lot of misconceptions around anger, right? And like just because somebody is telling the truth doesn't mean that they're a negative person. And just because somebody says something in a powerful way doesn't make them negative either. I mean, there's definitely unhealthy anger. I think it's also important to note that suppressing anger and like trying to keep it inside or denying yourself the expression of anger is also in itself really unhealthy, and that there are lots of ways to safely express anger without feeling like there's judgment and shame on top of it. There is just so many levels and so many aspects to anger that aren't scary. It's not just, yes, of course, there's unhealthy anger, there's outbursts, there's rage, there's like violence, there's lots of pieces of anger that are scary and dark and bad. Anger isn't just that. Just like all the other emotions aren't one-dimensional either. Love is caring and understanding and compassion and empathy. There are so many pieces to love. There are so many pieces to like sadness. There's disappointment and there's grief, heartache. There's so many types of sadness. There's also lots of different pieces of anger. And it's not just one dark thing that nobody should look at or talk about that's scary and we should all have shame over and like not address. There are definitely healthy aspects of anger, healthy levels of anger, and there's powerful pieces of anger that can help us through the spaces that are fucking hard. It's not just something that we should just hide in a box and not talk about. Putting things in boxes is literally how I got to where I am today. I know I've talked about that, but hiding all the things in the box and suppressing them, right? Like I've learned over and over and over in therapy, that creates all the unhealthy things. That is where my PTSD was stemmed from. And I think with anger, it's the same thing. It's the same type of way that people see heavy metal. It's dark, it's angry, it's this, it's that. And it's all these things that have all these negative reflections attached to them. And it's just not true. If you listen to that type of music, you know there's lots of different levels of heavy metal. There's real life human beings telling real life stories and in honest and raw ways. And honesty and rawness, you guys, is not negativity. It's okay if you're going through something. It's okay to not be okay. It's okay to feel like a little chaotic sometimes. It's okay to have a little bit of anger. It's okay to stand in these spaces and wonder if you're gonna fucking be okay at the end of it. We're just fucking humans and we're not perfect, right? Like there are so many fucking hard aspects to life, and there are so many parts of life that we don't talk about. Anger is also used as a shield. I definitely have been in more than one situation in my life where I have wanted somebody to back off, where I have felt like I was not in a comfortable space, conflict with a coworker or whatever it looks like, where you're just like, get the fuck out of my face. I've definitely used it as a shield, like back off, fuck off, don't come near me. And there's strength in that, right? Like there's a protective strength in having that anger to keep you safe. I think that there's just like a lot to be said around these emotions and these emotional spaces that make people so uncomfortable. And why do they make people so uncomfortable? As humans, you know, we have to process things. Anger is just a part of the human experience. Look at our kids. Right? Like they're just small little people and they get upset all the time. I have a 5-year-old that screams when I don't have the right type of cheese stick in the house, or he can't find his blue socks, or he wanted to have milk in the tall blue cup, not the short red cup. He is just expressing himself in the only way that he knows how. And he gets frustrated. Sometimes he'll stomp and sometimes he'll yell and sometimes he'll cry. And when we look at our kids, and they're going through these natural emotions as a small human, we are not it we can't. Why would you want to take that away from them? You know, they're valid in feeling like they don't have the things that they are trying to get, or doing the things in the way that they want to do them. And that frustration is real. And scolding them for being frustrated about a situation doesn't make sense. They're valid in having emotions. And if you tell them that they're not valid in having those emotions and that they should suppress the way that they're feeling in that moment, how are we showing up for them in ways that are healthy? I think it's really important that we talk about these pieces of us that we don't want to look at all the time, and why there's so much shame and so much attention and judgment drawn to somebody if they talk about an experience or they get fired up about something, and it's automatically perceived as negative or pessimistic, when in reality they're just a human going through an experience and they're sharing an expression. And if that is bringing out a discomfort in somebody, that is about how you perceive it, and why you perceive it that way is probably because society has told us that these things are bad. We all have anger, we all have emotions, we all have different levels of emotions. That is just normal fucking human stuff. And I don't want to shy away from talking about the things that I've been through in my life and those experiences that have made me mad. All of that being said, though, I am not trying to promote anger. I definitely don't want to encourage people to just go out and yell at each other and be angry. That's not what I mean at all by any of the things that I've said in this podcast. I'm not an expert on life. I'm not an expert on fucking mental health. I am just a person sharing my thoughts and talking about them as they come up with my mental health journey. That's just something that has come up more than once in my life. I want to talk about anger. I want to be angry, and I don't want to be looked at like there's something wrong with me because I'm angry for something that I went through that I feel valid in being angry about. Throwing shade at people all day long and just being a dick is not what I'm talking about. Something that makes you angry might not make someone else angry. We don't all have to agree on the same things. We don't all have to get upset about the same things. We all are different humans. I might be pissed off about the healthcare system. The person sitting next to me might think think that the healthcare system is the best thing that's ever happened to our country, and that every time they go in there, they just get the best care and everything is perfect. That person is living a very different life than me, and they don't have to be angry about the systems if the systems haven't impacted them in the same way that they've impacted me. Just because someone is angry about something and expressing anger about something that they've been through doesn't mean that you have to agree with them or feel that anger with them. I think there's like a lot to be said with the disconnections in the world as humans right now too, with a lot of people just being angry about random shit. You know, we live in a world where social media has just become like the place where everyone can just rant and rave about absolutely everything that pisses them off. And that's not what I'm talking about. There's definitely toxic levels of negativity as well as toxic levels of positivity, right? Like the positivity police that are like, look on the bright side of life. And then there's also toxic negativity and toxic angry aspects of people where they're just like grumpy all the time. I'm talking about the healthy layers and the different aspects of anger that we don't always want to look at. And also the fact that like underneath anger is always something else, you guys, right? Anger is always a mask for like another layer of emotion, which is usually pain. So also having that understanding of like, wow, that person's really angry. They must have been through something hard, rather than like that person's just being a dick. And there are lots of people that are just being dick. Anyway, I'm not really sure if I'm making any sense anymore. I just wanted to focus a little bit on the different aspects of anger and that there are layers to it. There are different dimensions to anger, and it's not just all negative, shitty, dark, burning hellfire. There are definitely pieces of anger that are empowering and powerful and useful and relevant. That was all I wanted to talk about and discuss. It's not always just one thing. It's not always just one way. That's it for today, you guys. We will headbang through some more shit next time. Peace, you guys.